January 2025, first board meeting of the year, CFO was asked by the board to reduce their operating cost by at least 30%. Why? Because 2024 bad margin products were uncompetitive for them. Immediately after the board meeting, CFO opened the P&L and the balance sheet, found out 1000 crore was the revenue, 100 crore was the profit. Out of the 900 crore cost curve, imagine 300 crore was their cost towards electricity bill. Having identified elephant in the room, which is the electricity bill, he was looking for the solution. How can I reduce this bill? He read it in the newspaper. He found out on LinkedIn that renewable energy solution provide at least 30% cost reduction. He was happy that it will meet the board requirements. But he wasn't unsure which renewable energy solution to go for, what would be the investment, what would be the return, and more precisely, what are the risks and what are the payback period. So in this video, I'm going to break down a 4R framework for you and for this CFO so that you can get a clarity which renewable energy solution that you can go for and what are the returns, what are the investment and what are the payback period. So let's get started without a further ado. So the first R in this 4R framework stands for regulation. Before I tell you what regulation means, just understand, right now this chemical company is buying a power from distribution company, 30 crore units at the rate 10 rupees per unit, causing them 300 crore outlay. So the regulation here means regulation with respect to the renewable energy solution. What does the policy talk about in the state? What does the regulation talks about specific to these four things? One is how much contract demand that they can replace. Second, what are the banking regulations talking about? Third, what are the open access charges as per the regulation? And fourth, what are the transmission and wheeling losses for procuring a renewable energy solution? Once you have these four data points, now come to a second point, which is replacement. So replacement here means how much of these 30 crore units that they can replace through renewable energy solution. So step to calculate is to check what is their current load curve at a 15-minute level, match it with solar wind generation during these time slots, apply the banking regulation that we have found out in step 1 and also the contract demand restriction and come up how much of the renewable energy capacity that they can take. For example, in this case, out of 30 crore units, assume 70% can be replaced, which is calculated through this formula. So 21 crore units that they can replace, which is almost equivalent to 135 megawatt of solar capacity. So once this is done, the next step, which is the step number 3, is to calculate the returns, which means to procure this 135 megawatt capacity, how much investment needs to be made. After making this investment, how much savings that they are getting each year and for next 25 years, and what is the return on their investment. For example, in this case, assume that their variable grid cost is 8 rupees, solar cost is somewhere around, let's say, 3.5 rupees, and the open access charges that we have found out in step 1 is 1.5 rupees. So the landed cost comes to around 5 rupees, which means they're saving 3 rupees per unit, multiplied by 21 crore units, which is giving them 63 crore rupees savings. To procure this 135 megawatt, roughly the investment required is 39 to 40 crore rupees, which means a 40 crore investment in a year is yielding a 63 crore savings only in year 1, which is equivalent to almost like 130-140% IRR and also a payback of less than 7 and 8 months. So that completes the step number 3. Before I tell you the fourth R, I have a special invitation for you, which is to invite you for a one-on-one meeting with us and my team. In this meeting, we are going to decode for you what is the right renewable energy solution as per the regulation in your state, what is the investment return that you get out of this renewable energy solution so that you can make easily 100% IRR, and what is the replacement that you can get, be it 70%, 80%. So book a one-on-one consultation call with us. The link is there in the description below. We have done this and impacted 1,000 plus corporates through this call, inspired more than 100 corporates to go in this journey, which has helped them save at least 30% in their cost and 70% of their power through renewable energy solution. The slots for this one-on-one consultation is only 10 a month. So I request to book this as soon as possible. I look forward to see you in the meeting. So let's come to the fourth R, which is the most important R, which is called as a risk. Remember the line from Scam web series? Risk hai to ishq hai. So the ishq that he is referring to is to ishq towards the return. For example, in this case, we have a clear scenario, 135 megawatt, 63 crore rupees savings on an annual basis, 150% IRR, which is he has a ishq towards this 150% IRR, but there are risks behind this as well. In this step, what we need to decode is what are the risks behind this renewable energy solution, list down all the risks, give a ranking to each of the risk on a scale of 1 to 10. For you to give a ranking, follow 3 steps. What is the intensity of this risk? What is the likelihood of this risk? What are the mitigation and the mitigation benefits? And accordingly give the ranking. For example, one of the biggest risk in this case is whether the banking will continue or not. So this CFO has 2 options: to take 135 megawatt, enjoy 63 crore, go with the banking risk. Second option is to take a 50% capacity, which is 60 megawatt, which will give him 30 crore rupees saving on a year, but there is no risk of banking. So it depends how much ishq he has towards the return, so that he can decide the risk accordingly. So this summarizes the 4R framework, which in nutshell tells you what are the regulation, how much power you can replace, what are the return, and how much ishq that you have towards that return, so that you can assess the risk appetite as well, which depends upon the CFO, the board, and your management. If you found this video insightful, valuable, then subscribe to my channel so that you can get these videos real time on your feed. And if your ishq towards return tells you to learn more, then don't forget to book a one-on-one consultation call with me and my team. I look forward to see you in that meeting and in my next video. Thank you.